working. It's holding. Okay, I'm having a lot of technical difficulties with this today. Okay, so hello, Sifu John. I'm going to continue on some of the basics for building up practice for Yang style Tai Chi Chuan. Now, um, again, we're in real early stages so far with this. We really haven't gotten too much into the actual postures and the routines and all this other stuff right now. Building a practice from a very sort of ground floor. One of the things I want to talk about here is something that I wish I had probably taken a little more seriously in the first 9-10 years of my practice, but I didn't as much. I didn't understand it as well. I didn't appreciate it as much. Now, I mean, maybe I don't do as much as I should, but my appreciation for it has skyrocketed, and that's standing meditation. So I'm going to have a couple of videos on this. The first one, we're just going to talk about Zhang Zuan. It's also called standing post posture, or also the way I first learned it with my teacher was two hands hold the tree. It's the sort of grand Mac Daddy godfather of all standing postures. Bruce Kumar Francis talks about the Taoists originally had like 200 standing postures. And then, the interchange of the hands and the way the legs move, and then introducing like walking and moving and stepping and things like that help create some of the Qigong practices and the early martial arts stuff, mixing in with some of the practices from Shaolin later on. For example, if San Feng was a real person and did all that, created now like internal martial arts as we think, and eventually led to the evolution through Tai Chi, Yang style Tai Chi. So we're reaching back a little bit, so to speak, but it's kind of ubiquitous everywhere. Qigong things have it, martial arts stuff have it. Tai Chi and Xingyi probably a little bit more, but it's probably going to come up in Bagua and stuff anyway. It's super, and it's ubiquitous for a reason, and it's a lot of very good reasons. Now, standing post posture is wonderful, and standing meditation is wonderful, because one of the things we're doing is we're creating a polarity with the body. Now, the idea of, if we think about when we're standing and sort of moving in this upright three-dimensional space, the polarity between the top of our head and the ground is the greatest that it's going to be. I'm not talking about being on top of a building or in an airplane or anything else like that, because even with then, it's still the same thing. Our feet are down here in one polarity, our head's up here in the other one. And we're getting our energy, we can get our energy to really make big movements and really start gathering stuff and being able to move and fill the body and gather. And especially if we're focused correctly in the lower dantian, as that's the only dantian or chakra that's going to be able to store energy and help us do some of the weird, wild, and wonderful alchemical processes. We're talking about internal alchemy, the real alchemy that's going on. Zanzang is nice because it also will engage the upper body as well as the lower body. We want a little bit of time under tension with the knees. So our knees are slightly bent with the appropriate posture we've already talked about. And it's this one. I'm sure you've seen it. So if we look, the Yang Jun will actually talk about the way we bring the arms around, even in Yang style, is almost like a bow, like the bow part, bow and arrow, where the elbows are where the strings tie into and our back is the bow. So we're not jutting out our shoulders, but we're not pulling our chest back either. Our head's not dumped down, but our head's not lifting up either. Everything's got that in between. And we're going to have the proper posture. So we're going to stand with our feet shoulder width apart, feet parallel. Again, everyone's going to be slightly different. My feet parallel is going to look a little different than someone else's because I'm pigeon-toed, so I got to cheat them out just a little bit. We want to make sure that when we bend our knees, they're tracking out right over the feet. Tailbone and hips tucked in. So if I can adjust this without everything shutting down on me again, which should be a wonderful change. No, not. I need a little more knees. Okay, so again, we're not hinging, you know, like if we're doing a deadlift, but we're not, hey, dude, what's going on? We're not doing that either. It's in between. So the shoulders and the hips are going to be lined up vertically. The crown of the head and the perineum or perineum, that lowest point of the torso, that spot between the genitals and the anus, those are lined up. Remember, we want that hotter line that comes in through the top of the head and straight down and out through that perineum, whatever. That is the axle that we're going to pivot on. And our shoulders and our hips are in one motion with it. I'm not robot stiff with it, but they're moving in a fluid round motion without the knees buckling in or pushing out too much beyond the feet. That was like a weird little dance. I apologize for that. That was grossly unnecessary. Okay, so, and with the arm bit. So if we have that, you know, here down, set. I start with my hands at the sides. I'm going to bring my wrists, lead with the wrists like it's an opening form. And I bring my wrists up to shoulder height. I turn my palms in, my thumbs up, fingers point towards each other. Now you can see that there's a little bit of roundness to the back. If you look down, I'm creating a circle. Either you can think of it either with the circle, the ring of the circle running through like the bones around the arms and, you know, connecting through the fingers and out and around. You can think of that circle being the interior of the chest. You can think of it being from, kind of drawing on here, that back and around. So around the shoulder blades, the rhomboids, and around through the hands this way. But we want that nice rounded thing. Now look at my elbows here. What I'm holding out here. Oh, this is actually feeling kind of nice. So my elbows, look at my elbows. My wrists are over the elbows. My elbows aren't dropped. This is actually a different posture, and we're going to talk about this at a different time. But we want the elbows out, not flared up, because see how the shoulders pop up? Shoulders are all totally engaged here, separated out from the body. A lot of time under tension, going to start wearing out pretty quickly. So we drop the elbows slightly to relax the shoulders. And again, keep that roundedness in there. Head up, chin in, tongue behind the teeth at the roof of the mouth. Without extending my thing. So this is kind of what it's going to be from the front. And you're going to kind of sit in it. So we have stillness, but there's going to be movement and stillness. Now movement and stillness is going to be internal and from the side view. So the crown and the perineum, so the bai hui and hui yin are lined up, shoulders over the hips. And I'm Tai Chi breathing. So let me exaggerate it here. So that lower abdomen, 2 inches below the navel, inch into the body. That postnatal Taoist Tai Chi breathing. That's what we're going with. This is the granddaddy of all of them. So we have a really big polarity between the ground and our head. And this is allowing us to really get energy to pump through all the main meridians here. The Ren and Du channels coming, you know, up the back and down the center, governing and conception vessels. And then the other 6 sort of side ones that go up and down. The arms through the hands and back up, same thing through the legs, and then around the sort of girdle. And all those are moving and pumping, but we still want to stay focused in on that lower dantian and let the energy movement take care of itself. And we want to hold this nice round, again, 2 hands hold the tree. And the idea of standing post is that your legs are the posts and they're dug into the ground. There's people from the Chen family that talk about, man, this was something that was drilled into them from being a young child. I think it was Chen Ziqian was talking about how, you know, they like cartoons, and it was like, all right, you do your standing, then they'll let you watch like something with cartoons, and it was really important integral part of their training from even as children. And this is just sort of an example of it. So I'm going to, as I exhale, I bring my arms down, leading with the wrists down to my hips. I'm not going to just dump out like hyper vacuum sucking water out of something. I'm just going to bring it down and disengage smoothly. Again, we don't want to have too much real jarring stuff in that. Sun Lutang would not look well on that, and I don't want to disappoint Sun Lutang. He was a good guy, knew his stuff. So, with Zhang Zuan, with standing post, with that, it's incredible. It's opening up all the main meridians, and it's teaching. And again, it's teaching meditation, and it's almost sort of like think of it like a superfood for qigong. You know, we got like the kale or acai berries. It's like it's got all the vitamins, all the minerals, does all the health benefits. This standing posture is the superfood of internals. If you're doing qigong or you're doing the martial arts stuff or both or anything, well, if you're doing the martial arts, you're doing qigong or should be. That's just part of it. If it's done correctly, internals, taiji chingi bagua has qigong into it, so you are doing it. Whether or not you're doing separate qigong is a different story. But this will help that. This will help meditation. This will help physical fitness. It's helping you being able to relax and settle and be able to align and integrate the whole chain up and down, front and back, side to side. So all the stereo change, posterior, anterior, left-terior, right-terior, up-terior, down-terior, Boston Terrier, all those chains, it's helping you align. Done correctly, when the weight is settled through the legs and all the alignment's correct and you're feeling your weight through the heels, that's where the standing post comes in, because it really does begin to feel, when if you're rooting correctly, that your legs are sort of dug in the ground. I remember having a friend of mine I was pushing hands with. We were on the second floor of a building, and he was saying, he's like, dude, it feels like you're 6 feet underground. I was rooted well. I'm not saying I'm doing that all the time, but at that time, that was the feedback I got, and I realized that, oh, it was from standing. It was from doing the standing stuff. It teaches being able to help with all the postures in whatever martial art you're doing. I can't speak for yoga or other things like that. I can speak for Taiji, Shingi, Bagua, and Qigong. It will help all of those, even in just a physiological physiology sort of sense of being able to keep the body in the correct posture, being able to feel the body in the correct posture, being able to root and neutralize correctly, being able to integrate the breath with the motions, being able to integrate all the Qigong stuff with it. It does all of that. Again, Qigong aspect, it's hitting all the meridians and doing all the cool stuff with it. It's a huge meditation thing, and you can actually help use it if you get further along and start doing like microcosmic orbits. It's good for that too, because you're already engaging the meridians. Now, I'm going to say this real fast. If you are doing microcosmic orbits at any point in time, you better make damn sure you're setting yourself up in a rooted way, and before you finish up, you're rerouting then too. I'm going to put that caveat in everything. You start off with a root, end with a root. Otherwise, stuff might start burning out and have happen and everything else with like that. You've got to build into it and then slow back down. You know, think of it like flying a plane. You know, you've got to taxi and come up, and then you've got to land and taxi to do it correctly. You know, and trust me, because I've been in a situation that if you don't have all the engines working, it's going to be a hard landing. You might have to slam on the brakes, and at that point in time, you might crash and burn. So you don't want to do that. You want to land. You want to take off and land appropriately and correctly. And to do that, you need rooting on both. So, but since we're standing and doing the postnatal breathing helps facilitate that movement of energy, which is why we're doing it when we're doing standing or the moving stuff, whether it's specifically Qigong or any of the Neja Chuan. any of the Neja Fa stuff. It helps facilitate that movement. So that's why it's almost, sometimes it actually feels better and is easier and more correct to do that in the upright position than doing it while sitting. It's a little bit easier, a little bit less stress on the breathing. Now, when we're talking about it in terms of Taiji Chuan, it helps be able to build that round, stable posture with the whole body fully integrated, tops and tails, up and down, left, right, in, out, center, all the 5 directions or 10 directions or however you're putting it in there. It helps you integrate all of them together as one individual thing, which is the point of what internals are supposed to be doing with that in terms of the physical part of it. Again, it helps facilitate the movement of energy. It helps teach you the Yang Chen Fu sort of idea of thinking of your upper body like a boat sitting on the water. And what you're practicing while here can work if you raise up for like white crane, you rotate the arms for things like brush knee, and also like if we're talking about yang style, grasp bird's tail. Now, on top of that, Taiji Chuan, the 8 energies, integral to the DNA of Taiji Chuan. Out of the 8 energies, the first 4, Penglu Jian, ward off, roll back, press or squeeze, and push, are like the main cardinal 4. Out of those 4, 2 of them are sort of like the real big superstars, Peng and Liu. Liu is like yield and roll back. Is roll back. So yield and redirect. So the sort of poster child for Taiji. In terms of Taiji as a martial art, yield and redirect. If you had to boil it all down, that's probably where it's going to be at. You know, Bruce Kumar Francis again talks about Taiji's martial intent is thy will be done. You do something, and I redirect. There's so many planes today, it is maddening. But Peng, or ward off, is that idea of you're keeping that center line, and not just the center line that you can draw like down the sternum to the navel, but the center line, that center axle. You're keeping that safe. You're keeping it from being collapsed in. So that little space between the arm and the body is very important. You know, that sort of, there's like a fist distance you want kind of in your armpit with it. Too much is too collapsed. You get too far out of there, again, that shoulder starts getting engaged, separates that out from the whole. Want that little thing, and it helps kind of teach that posture, but it also helps teach that round, expansive posture of Peng. And with that, that creates that sort of round, expansive balloon kind of thing, helps create true Peng, which is going to keep that center safe, keep you from collapsing, and enable you now to be able to move. So if you get that pressure or that push or something in, what you do is that gives you the sensitivity when you feel that to be able to move. I feel that coming in this way, I move. Without collapsing, I can get that suits on the thing. So if you've watched, I was a Taiji master with Jet Li. There's a thing where his character, Jun Bao, who becomes San Sen Feng, goes crazy or goes mad at some point in time, and there's like the spinny ball or this rubber ball kind of thing, and he helps use that to like understand, you know, that sort of sphere motion with the body and like pressing down in the water, but also has it where, you know, someone gets, he spins it on a table and someone gets mad and throws a cup, and the cup hits it and shoots back and everything. So it's kind of having that in, whoop, gone. Whole body together integrated, keeps itself from collapsing, and is able to yield to the sort of force that's coming in. And it is, so the standing post, the 2 hands hold the tree, is really, really good for helping you to be able to understand Pengjing. You understand Pengjing, the other 7 start kind of falling into place as well. Pengjing is the keystone. Again, these are my names. So Pengjing, ward off, is sort of the keystone energy. You unlock that, the rest of them start becoming something that you can start making sense to. And Liu Jing would be like the poster child. So, Zhang Zuan, standing post posture, or two hands hold the tree. Granddaddy, godfather of all standing postures, Granddaddy, godfather of internals, Qigong and the martial arts stuff as well. I think of it super important. Maybe I don't practice as much as I should, but I still integrate all the things I've learned from it in everything that I do with my training, even the sitting meditation and everything else. It's been super important. It was the thing that helped me open up that what they call it, the Kundalini, that sort of fire serpent up the back and comes out. I was it's actually at a haunted house. I was standing in line with a haunted house with a couple of friends and my ex, and I was trying to help keep her warm. And I turned on like the Reiki, and it was October, and it's kind of cold. I was trying to help keep her warm, and so as I turn on the Reiki, and I'm kind of standing there with her and here with this, and practicing that, all of a sudden I got really really hot, starting in like my lumbar or sacral part of my spine, really really hot. This sort of like boiling water opened up, kind of out, and shot up and came up into my head and kind of like through my head. I could feel it coming down through the rest of the microcosmic orbit, but it was really going through that. My ex kind of went, "What the hell just happened?" and everything. The other people we were with were like, they felt something too. I'm like, "I just did a thing," So this was the thing that kind of helped me have a major sort of qigong energetic, sort of fancy everything everybody wants kind of breakthrough sort of thing, was consistent practice with this. I'm not guaranteeing anything at any point in time with any of this stuff. I'm not guaranteeing that this is going to make you super tai chi master, or Goku or something like that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is something that helped facilitate that breakthrough for me. And I do genuinely and generally think that this is a super important posture, and other people that I've tried to kind of convince of that have gotten a lot of benefits out of it too. Okay, so standing post, rock and roll. If I had to be told, if I was told in some sort of weird dystopian way, you've got to throw out everything that you do, but we'll let you keep one thing. You can either do your sitting, but if you say Tai Chi, you're only allowed one posture of Tai Chi. Or if you say Xingyi, one fist in Xingyi. That's it. You're only allowed one thing. This would be it. If I had to get rid of everything except and sitting, lying down, all the qigong, all the tai chi, xingyi, bagua, all the individual postures of everything. If I had to get rid of everything except one thing, standing post posture would be the one thing that I would keep. And I'm really bad at picking like top 3, 5, 10 of anything. But again, this would be the thing that I think, to me, as of my thinking right here, right now, and this could change, to me, this would be the one thing that would be the most incorporative of everything. And would be, I'm not saying it's better than everything else. I'm not saying that this one thing will be the most wonderful thing and everything else like this. To me, right now, it is the thing that incorporates the most, and that, consistent practice of can be the most wide-ranging incorporative thing, whether you're doing qigong, meditation, or even fighting, because it will help with that too. All right, so now I'm done. Sorry. So Seafood John, I'm out. Please like, subscribe, all the cool YouTubey stuff, and I'll talk at you later.